with caution.
What is up, guys? Caution here, and welcome to another video. I have to apologize for my absence because I have been sick for quite some time. I had the man flu, and we're slowly recovering, and we have enough energy to do another YouTube video for you guys. And this one is going to be pretty well because we missed a pretty intense match while we were sick in the TD community. As you all know, the TDGL Tiberian Dawn Global League is in its full effect, and we had the finals happening during my absence. It was between Borgmo and Cav, and we're gonna watch that. We're gonna cast that for you guys and entertain you with a pretty good show. Hope you enjoy the video. If you like it, do please like, subscribe, and leave a comment as well because it helps me out a lot. And let's get straight into the video. Alright, so here we are, Tiberian Dawn Global League Season 3 Finals between Cav and Borgmo, and the first game is going to be played on African Gambit. Now, both of these players definitely deserve to be here. Cav has killed a lot of good players as well, and just like Borgmo, he managed to take out Orb in the semifinals, and Cav did the same thing in the semifinals versus Noodles, who has been an upcoming promising player in the TD community as well. So here we go. We have a classic GDI versus Nod matchup going on here. Borgmo starting on the left in the yellow color, and Cav starting on the right in the brown color, playing as Nod. Oh my god. I was looking at the spectators chat here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an awesome spectacle, truly a sight to behold. And then Borgmo kicks Jinx. I think this was streamed by Orb in the me when this was actually happening. So yeah, that's why I think the spectators got kicked, because they could just watch the stream. Is something that I usually respect as well. It's not really that I have an issue with people spectating, but spectators do affect the game in terms of latency, and out of respect for the players, to give them the most optimal experience possible, I usually kick spectators. You know, they can just watch the stream if they want to enjoy the game. Well, here we go. Borgmo versus Cav. Nothing out of the ordinary yet. Both players going for their respective oils with scouts set up in order to prevent sniping going on here and there. Now, this is definitely going to be an interesting matchup that I want to watch with a keen eye, because in my opinion this is a rough matchup for GDI. And the reason for that is GDI definitely has to play this defensively, because Nod is going to be the one that decides the pace here. And the reason for that is Nod tier 1 is very strong. They can go both ways. They can actually determine the pace of the match, just like I said, and GDI player is the one that needs to respond. Because if the GDI player, for example, tries to rush communication center and goes for medium tank, he can actually be overwhelmed with just sheer tier 1 production with double airstrip from the Nod player. However, if the Nod player goes comm center early on, then it is very rough for GDI to deal with that as tier 1. They can deal with light tanks in terms of rocket soldiers, but light tanks are very fast, so they can just go somewhere else and try to deal damage, or they could go for flame tanks, and flame tanks are harder to kill for rocket soldiers just because flame tanks, you know, can just annihilate rocket soldiers. So it is going to be very, very rough for the GDI player to keep this up, and I feel like the best tactic for Borgmo is to just play very, very defensively. And as we can see, he's going for a doubles weapons factory to keep up with the tier 1 potential spam, but he made the right choice because Cav is going for double airstrip as well. So because of that, he will be able to defend himself well against bikes and buggies, and the only thing he actually needs for that mainly is just Humvees. He is going to make a couple of APCs just to deal with the mass spam of potential buggies, and here he is sending the Humvee to do some scouting straight ahead. He hasn't seen a second airstrip yet, so this Humvee actually hasn't been able to do a lot for Borgmo. It seems like he's gonna lose it. Oh, actually, he might be able to see it. No. Unfortunately. But Borgmo has to take a guess, but he took the right guess so far. So he is going to be able to defend from this. But like I said, it's all going to come down to the non-player to set the pace. And the pace has definitely been set because he is going for a third airstrip. So far it's going to be a very strong tier 1 push from Cav. And Borgmo is going for the comm center. This is pretty much what Borgmo is actually doing is a very standard GDI build versus not. You want to have a second weapon factory just to be safe. And then you're going straight into comm center. To at least, you know, be able to defend against light tanks and stuff like that with your medium tanks. And you can also build MRLSs, and MRLSs are pretty good, aka the rocket launcher, because especially if you're playing very defensively, they can annihilate light armor vehicles, and that's usually very good to have if you're playing against Nod, who is mainly going to send over bikes to try and harass your eco. So let's see how Borgmo is going to handle this. He's going for a lot of APCs. And he's actually building Grens as well. So he could, yeah, I think he's actually going for some sort of Gren drop over here. That is going to be crazy. Yeah, lots of Grens are being made here. That is crazy. That's going to be a very big Gren drop. So Borgmo's going to try and kind of cheese his way out of this, and I don't think that's a bad idea to do, because you need to do something crazy in order to keep up the pace against Nod, because like I said, this is a very tough matchup for G9. So let's see how he is going to handle this. Very even army value numbers so far. However, Borgmo is going to split off his army. And his expansion in the bottom so far is kind of exposed. You can definitely see that Borgmo is anticipating an attack somewhere to his main base. But I do like the fact that he has rocket launch. That is going to help him a lot. And he sees the first light tank taking out his Humvee scout. But in the meantime, I'm looking at the bottom, and this could have been a distraction, because look at that. Look what's coming out here. There is 7 bikes going straight for his eco, and his expansion in the bottom is completely undefended, and that harvester just went down like it was nothing, like a paper boy. And Cav is putting on the pressure onto the MCV now, and that's a lot of DPS, but his reinforcements are arriving in time. He went for a third weapons factory, and in the meantime, Gren drop has been initialized. Guard tower has been taken out. Can he deal damage? Cav is going to pull the harvesters, and he gets a ton of crush, and he should be able to deal with that in time. It seems like he's going to lose the refinery, but it seems like Borgmo is going to be in a lot more trouble than that. Cav is putting up the pressure, and advanced guard tower is being placed. Will it be enough to hold? He doesn't have that many anti-tank. He still has a rocket soldier and a bike. The last medium tank is about to go down. And here comes the flamers. And the flamers are going to be able to deal, a decent amount of damage to this MCV. And Borgmo is not going to be able to hold that. The MCV goes down. No more static defense production. This is actually rough for Borgmo, because he already took a big blow. 2 harvesters going down as well. So he's gonna have a rough time keeping that production going with the third weapons factory he has just built. Borgmo is going to be able to push Cav back for now. Keeping that ref intact is actually pretty good. That means he can stabilize his economy with just using harvesters, but he's already going to stall. And in the meantime, Cav's expansions have been unharmed, so he is going to be able to keep up that 3 airstrips. He did suffer a little bit of losses here with losing that refinery, but I don't think he lost harvesters actually. So he did have to go back to restore that, but he did. which I think is a very good choice. Alright, medium tanks versus light tanks here, but it seems like the sheer numbers of light tanks pushed Borgmo back. And Cav is looking solid. He's going to take a third expansion as well. He's sitting on 8 harvesters versus 7, so Borgmo did a pretty good job rebuilding his economy, but that also means he is going to be behind in medium tank production, and here comes again a big number of light tanks to just bully their way through these defenses from Borgmo and just go straight for the harvesters. That's one harvester going down, another harvester going down, and that is going to be a third harvester as well. He's going to target the refinery because he knows Borgmo is without an MCV, and that is going to be another big blow to Borgmo's defenses. This is looking grim. Very, very grim. Cav going for another rack, so he's going to be on 3 airstrip productions and potentially 2 racks productions as well. Yep. And yeah, just like I said, like he's doing pretty well. He's floating a little bit, but he has so many expansions, so he can just afford this. And Borgmo once again took a big blow, just like I said, and the gap is just going to become wider and wider at this point. The longer this game goes on, the harder it's going to become for Borgmo to deal anything about this. However, as we're seeing that, he is launching a counterattack with a sheer amount of medium tanks, and so far there's not really that many anti-vehicle units for Cav to be seen. He's got 1 rocket soldier and he's got the light tanks. It's a good thing he still has a ton of buggies. Buggies are gonna deal with the rocket soldiers, and Borgmo has nowhere to go. He actually just trapped himself with the medium tanks. He's gonna try and deal damage to the harvesters instead. He takes 1 down with him, but it's only 1 though. And ooh, that might be a pretty good airstrike. That was really well. He did some nice damage, but he also damaged his own medium tanks. And it's not enough to make a comeback. He is still 10k behind in army value. And here comes Cav with the counter attack. Doing some scouting with the buggies. He sees there's nothing there. Borgmo now needs to do some long distance mining, which is so bad. We hate to see it, but here we go. Desperate attempt from Borgmo. He's going to pull the harvesters in order to negate the damage from the buggies. As he's going to move forward, he has a ton of rocket soldiers actually to deal with the light tanks from Cav. But there's an airstrike from Cav, killing all of the rocket soldiers except 1. And that was enough for Borgmo to throw in the towel. The first game is going to go to Cav. Not superior, boys. Not superior. Let's go on to the second game. Alright, here we go. Game number 2 is on our way. We're playing on a new winter. And once again, we got a Nod versus GDI matchup, except the roles have been switched. Cav is now in the bottom right playing as GDI, and Mr. Borgmo is now playing Nod on the top left. So once again, this is a rough matchup, just like I said for GDI. However, on this map, I feel like it is even worse. The reason for that is this map has a lot of very small ore patches, so you are forced to move out fairly quickly compared to African Gambit. And African Gambit is, your base is a lot more compactor in a way. You can easily rotate your armies between expansions. However, that's going to be very hard to do. In the early stage of the game, it's going to be fairly easier. You got your main base over here, and normally you expand over here to get these 2 patches. But you can already see why that could be a problem. There's going to be a giant loop around for the non-player to actually harass, and he can harass at 3 ore patches at the same time with very minimal distance. You know, it's going to be very hard for the GDI player to defend this. So as I keep saying, I hope we're going to see some nice GDI play from Cav, because I feel like in the early stages of the game, it's all going to come down on how well the GDI player can defend without losing eco or lots of eco and preserve most of his units. So I'm interested to see how this will go down. Obviously, this is the smart thing to do. There's not that much ore, so moving out straight away is going to be the play. And I think we're just going to see two harvesters. One extra harvester is probably going to be built over here. I'm not sure. Maybe two. But something that I've seen from Cav is that he usually just builds one or two harvesters from the first airstrip, or weapons factory in his case. And then when he builds his second weapons factory, he builds a harvester over here just to get that get less downtime in traveling with harvesters. And that is something that I really like to see. It's like exploiting the multi-queue system to its full. It's not really an exploit, but I guess like using it optimally is probably how I should say it. Oh, that was smart from Cav. He was trying to hide his harvester behind the weapons factory, and it actually was confusing Borgmo for a little bit there, but it worked out, and this is huge for Borgmo. Once again, like I said, Nod is the one that is going to set the pace. And Borgmo made a risk going for bikes, but it worked out for sure. Definitely worked out. And this is very interesting. So Cav is going for a third refinery over Second's weapons factory, and Borgmo is going to go for double airstrip instead. However, this is a downtime. This is the thing that actually sucks for Borgmo right now is that he went for bikes, so he doesn't have the buggies to deal with the Humvees from Cav. So now Cav can actually camp the airstrip. Borgmo tried to pull the harvester so that the Humvees automatically would shoot the harvester instead, to soak the damage. But obviously at the same time that loses him some eco as well. So this is a pretty good way for Cav to actually make some sort of comeback in the lost eco that he had. And it also makes it so that Borgmo can not produce buggies from this airstrip. However, he does have his second airstrip up and running, and he's going to make another play. His harvester comes out once again to do some soaking, so it's going to come down to the micro from Cav. He actually targets the first buggy straight away, but he's going to be outnumbered fairly soon. But he still trades fairly well. But he's going to lose the Humvees regardless. Nice micro from Borgmo there, preserving that buggy. And Cav has a ton of harvesters, and I feel like I'm not sure if I like that play going for the third refinery, because he's going to be outnumbered, outproduced, and he could go for infantry, but he doesn't have a barracks yet. And I feel like at this stage of the game there's just gonna be way too many buggies, so having infantry regardless is going to be pretty bad. He's also not making static defenses yet, so it's going to be hard for him, but he can take a very good fight if he fights around his harvesters. It's going to be really hard for Borgmo to micro that, and even if he micros that, he's probably going to select all of his buggies to kill one Humvee. So there's going to be a lot of overkilling going on. So Cav is actually in a good place. So Borgmo actually trying to bait him with the bike, killing the harvester, in order for Cav to move out. But now that bug is going to the other side. I mean, that bike, that's a pretty good choice from Borgmo, and he got what he wanted. Cav was being lured out, and Borgmo is... They're trading kind of evenly, but because they're fighting in the main base from Cav, Cav is going to come out on top just because he's keep producing Humvees at this point. So he was reinforcing fairly quickly. He is now rotating into medium tanks. He got the comm center up and running, and he's going to expand to a third spot. So far Cav is doing fairly well. Managed to defend. So as you can see, like, this is the difference with the first game, where Borgmo actually invested into APCs a lot and went for Grents in order to force something happening, and Cav so far has just played defensively completely. He hasn't done a single thing in his base, except maybe send a couple of Humvees to camp the airstrip, but that's a very, very safe play. But now he has to deal with the comm center from the non-player, aka tier 2. And here's a flame tank already on its way. Buggies once again are going to be the distraction. And they are excellent at dealing damage to the rocket soldiers. They're just pounding through them. They have to be careful to not lose it to one medium tank. But here comes that flame tank. There's the medium tank from Cav. And he should be able to preserve his refinery. Yep, he does. And that is a huge thing. But here comes another flame tank. And Cav was actually sending in an offense. But as you can see, just straight away, if the GDI player just moves out once at a bad timing, he's going to pay the price for it. He almost lost his weapons factory, but nice defense there from Cav. In the end, I think Cav actually didn't lose that much. Borgmo tried to go for a refinery and for the weapons factory. He only managed to kill one Rax. And Cav did preserve the weapons factory, which is huge. Otherwise, he would definitely fall behind. Cav is expanding like a maniac, and I think that's a fairly good play. He's a little bit faster than Borgmo so far. Just a little bit faster. But yeah, like I said, the more he expands, the harder it is for him to defend. So as you can see, he's splitting his army fairly well. He sees rocket soldiers coming from his rifle scouts. He's already pulling his medium tanks back. And yep, here we go. Let's see if he can hold this. He should be able to hold this because he can build static defenses over here. Cav is actually doing a very, very nice job splitting up his army to defend from both angles from Borgmo. So far, this is pretty much how you should be playing against Nod as GDI. You just want to play very defensively until you know you got a good amount of combat army lead. Army value, I should say. By just playing defensively and hoping that Nod just trades poorly into trying to take out eco or crucial buildings. And that's exactly what was going on, and Cav now has the upper hand. He's going for the MCV. There's nothing that Borgmo can do about it to save it. Couldn't even sell it in time. And this is not looking great. He's being harassed on this side as well by this medium tank that is just sitting outside of the range of the turret, but still damaging the harvester. And over here, Cav cannot defend this. And there's two harvesters that are going to be melted by the sheer amount of medium tanks. Borgmo calls it GG. He already knows what time it is. And Cav, just like that, takes the second game as well. What a match. And it is not over yet, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going straight to the third game.
Battle control terminated.
Alright, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is currently 2:04 Cav in this TDGL Season 3 Finals between Cav and Borgmo. We are playing on Crack Point. I always forget these names. I played them a couple of times, but I always forget the names. And for the first time, we have a Nod mirror on our hands. We have Cav in the bottom left playing as Nod in the brown color. And we have Borgmo on the top right playing as the goldish yellow color with Nod as well. So first Nod mirror. It's going to be interesting to see how these players handle it. And so far, yeah, Cav has been very dominant so far. He played an excellent Nod match in the first game, Nod versus GDI, with very nice harassment, and just because of that, he managed to come out on top. And he played very defensively as GDI in the second game, allowing him to trade very well against Borgmo's armies without, Borgmo just lost way too much army value trying to take out crucial structures like harvesters, weapons factories, or whatever you want to call it. And because of trading effectively, Cav had the sheer amount of numbers. This one rock is giving me anxiety. Not sure if I can build. I'm not sure what kind of rock he's talking about. Maybe this one? I'm not sure. Okay, well, we have Cav actually skipping barracks. Well, we got Master over here saying, why didn't they tell Caution that they were going to play in this game? Orp asking, am I not good enough? Well, apparently you are not. It is what it is. But to be fair, past Master TD, they had informed me. But when this was happening, oh shit! Oh my god! No, you're not. That's crazy. But yeah, like I was saying, I had a colleague dinner. I was away. I wasn't even around. So, as much as I wanted to do this live, I just could not. But that's why we're doing it on YouTube right now. We're not gonna throw this epic match away between these two players. And yeah, that's why we're doing it right now. And so far, it has been epic. It's been very fun casting this for you guys. You already know I love casting. It's been a sheer passion that I have been able to evolve. And it's actually been going great on the Street Fighter side as well. I'm not sure if you guys know, but I've been recording this in the weekend. Ooh, once again, camping from Cav. And yeah, I have been able to do my very first paid commentating event. I was asked for by Salt Mine League, and Salt Mine League is a group of, it's a community that does official Capcom events for Street Fighter. And they are doing a World Warrior event, and those are being officially sponsored by Capcom, and they asked me to commentate for that, and that was being paid. So, you know, I was super stoked. I think I commentated for over 300 people. It was between 350 and 400 viewers, concurrent viewers, and yeah, it was amazing. So yeah, thank you guys. Like, because of OpenRA, I discovered my passion for it, and because of OpenRA, I've been able to teach myself during these 2 years of commentating, and you know, it's been a blast. It's been amazing. So yeah, thank you guys for keeping continuing to watch me, and it's been an absolute blast. And we're still gonna have a great time before anyone is going to think that I'm going to say goodbye, because I know how that goes. I remember when I was doing that, when I said I had big news that I was going to do some commentating for Street Fighter, people were like, oh, you're gonna leave us? No. Anyways, enough of that. We have our first big encounter, but it's gonna end poorly for Borgmo. Big numbers of buggies so far. Let's see what's going on. We got double airstrip. We got pretty much the same for Borgmo. Very similar approach. Borgmo does love to put up a little bit more of defenses, and I do like the guard towers. The guard towers are pretty good against light armor, which is going to help him in the mirror match. But Cav doesn't care that much about it. He just wants to expand quickly, and I actually do like this approach, because once again, Borgmo tried to be the aggressor, but it got stopped. It got scouted from Cav really nicely, and he is gonna try and keep up the pace. He's gonna try and set the momentum for this match. He wants to put the aggression on, and you know that even in a non-mirror match, that is very good, because like that means he doesn't need static defenses. If he can keep up the pace of attacking, that means Borgmo needs to defend, which means Cav can just focus all of his eco fully into pumping out vehicles, whereas Borgmo will have to balance that out between vehicles and static defenses. This engineer might die, but no, Borgmo's not gonna go for that. He's smart enough to not do that. If he did try to go for that just to kill it, just to prevent the oil, then he would have lost that entire army, and that would have probably been his downfall already 6 minutes into the match. But no, he is fully aware of that problem. Anyways, comm center coming out for both players. Very similar timing, so you can definitely see that they're I feel like they're quite even in I wouldn't say skill level, but definitely like in terms of macro and awareness and stuff like that. But so far, Cav has just been I would say in the a little bit in decision making and micro department, he has been doing very well. Let's see if he can keep doing it again. He's the first one with having a light tank, but here comes a big reinforcement from Borgmo. He's also switching into riflemen as well, which in this case are just going to be soakers. But Cav is the one retreating here. This time Borgmo has the bigger numbers. Cav is going to try and take the fight in his own base. No static defense are being produced. And the riflemen, just like I said, are probably going to be just damage soakers right now. But I like this in and out retreating from Cav. Now sending in his light tanks to get rid of the infantry, excuse me. And now he just has a bigger amount. Yeah, he has a bigger amount of light tanks. Obviously, he took the fight in his base, just like I said. Reinforcing his army is going to be a lot faster than Borgmo. I think Borgmo had to probably leave a little bit sooner. But, you know, he was feeling confident. He was taking good trades. But it still ended in disaster. And yeah, that's the third airstrip as well for Cav. And no third airstrip yet for Borgmo. So that means he can be outproduced, and that seems like it's going to be the case. And I think we're going to see a move out from Cav fairly quickly. Yeah, it's already happening to another war patch. And this is something that we kept seeing so far, is that Cav always moves out faster every single time. What's also interesting to note is that Borgmo expanded a little bit differently here, and I actually do like Borgmo's expanding a lot more, because his base is a lot more compact. As you can see, like he did focus a little bit more in the back, which is fine. This would be a bad decision to make in RA, but because this is usually like a one MCV game, it's not that big of a deal. But his base is a lot more compactor, so it's going to be easier for Borgmo to defend. Whereas Cav has a lot more of a wider expansion. Here we go. Big attack from Cav. And it hasn't been scouted in time. But yeah, Borgmo needs to react right now because he's fighting this army in a splitted way. And it might work out now if he goes for it in time. Cav is trying to get crushes in with the light tanks, and he got a pretty good amount, but not enough. There's still a lot of rocket soldiers left. But the sheer amount of light tanks, once again from Cav, just might pull it off here. Lots of low health light tanks for Cav though, but all the rocket soldiers are getting crushed, yep. And there's still a big amount left, and well, actually, this huge engagement could once again decided. Borgmo, Cav is going for some splits. He takes off a bike. He's gonna get some flamers as well with this buggy. And is he going for the MCV again? Is the question. He has a sheer amount of light tanks. Surely he's gonna try and go for it, and he is. And look at the DPS on that. Even though Borgmo is pounding on these medium tanks, it's not going to matter. The MCV goes down. He managed to get a refinery out. And that seemed like a good thing, but he's already going to lose the harvester. It seems like he's not going to lose the refinery. Yeah, he is. Cav is like, fuck it, I'm going for it. I'm already ahead. And he takes out the refinery as well, and that is a huge blow. Once again, we have a similar situation to the first game, where Cav just managed to take out the MCV and the eco. And the longer this game progresses, the more he's going to get behind. Cav with an extra expansion. He has 3 airstrips as well, where Borgmo only has 2, and he has less eco to work with. This is gonna be rough. He is producing from 2 racks as well, and that is not the case for Cav. Cav is working from 1 racks, but it's gonna be really hard to come back from this. He's almost 10k behind as well. He's losing more harvesters. 2 harvesters went down. Borgmo throws in the towel, and it is 3-0, just like that. Wow. Borgmo was doing well, especially in the beginning of the game, especially during this first engagement, but he stayed around for too long, and he got behind in terms of army value. And yeah, Cav was also sitting on 3 airstrips for quite some time. So it was very hard for Borgmo to come back from this.